Hey y'all, it's your buddy 16-bit Gambit coming at you with another video, and more of the same but a little bit different. So I don't know how you're doing today, but so far today it's been pretty tasty. Uh, I have eaten 3 cinnamon rolls, a piece of toast, and a McGriddle. So needless to say, maybe the sugar's got me giddy. But on with the video. So I keep harping on the idea that I need to get faster. And in order to get faster, I probably need to start by keeping stuff simpler first. So another game that I really like is called Ogre Battle. It came out for the Super Nintendo back in the 90s, and it may have inspired a lot of strategy RPGs, but I don't see a lot of games that are very much like it very often. As a matter of fact, I think maybe just one for the PC that came out in the last couple of years. But aside from that, the automated battler where you're controlling from the bird's eye view of the army, not so often. But there's a green dragon icon in that game that inspired that guy that I was first working on. And I took a break. I came back a day later, and I was trying to do more of the concept artwork for someone in the game. So, I did the tree zombie on the last video, and in this one, I decided, try to take another whack at it. Same theme, you've got the wood armor, and on the inside, you've got the vines making up the body. But once I got that one done, I wasn't 100% happy with it. So, next step, I tried to do a few more doodles. I went to take a look at some more Toriyama art for some inspiration. So once this thing gets done, being lined out right here, you see that I flip over to doing a few sketches of Goku, because I know that everyone needs to have their own style, but you also kind of need to learn to mimic the people that have already learned all the lessons. And so I'm always flopping back and forth between trying to like mimic his style, and then eventually I start sneaking in and doing my own sort of stuff. Hence, you got a couple skulls, and then you got younger Goku. This one was a ripoff of a picture of him getting dragged by a pig on a motorcycle. Next one is just Goku kind of being happy with himself and smiling for the camera. And I think after this one, I went into doing the characters. So, funny enough, started with Donnie, and first attempt I was pretty happy with it. So, I got the initial line work done, I got the pose, this is him grown up, kind of cosplaying as a cleric. At this point I forgot how big his warhammer was, so I had to redo it to the larger side. When he's younger he's just carrying a rubber mallet, but when he's imagining himself it's a full-sized warhammer. Then, I flip over and I started trying to do a sketch of Tony. Both of those, just the proportions were off a little bit. I don't know what the magic number is for how much of the face is supposed to be below the ears and how big the eyes are supposed to be, but it took a few attempts until I found a shape that I could make work with John Wayne. So then I went ahead and, cleaned it up a little bit, and I got John Wayne kind of making a goofy smile here, posing with his magic wand. One thing that I did in this sketch that I've been thinking about is I think one of the characters would look better or look pretty good with some sort of like wrappings underneath of their outfit. So in this one, it's going to be the first time that I've got the wrappings underneath of John Wayne's robe. Then in the middle, we got Tony, the way he imagines himself as a barbarian. And I was actually, funny enough, I think of the other pictures I've done with all three of them at the same time, like there's always one of them that I wasn't happy with, but so far I think I lucked out with this one. I think this is the first one where even if it's not colored in all the way, line work wise, features, I'm happy with all of them except for the hands. What are you gonna do? If it's not one thing, another, or it's another. But you can see now I filled in those wrappings on John Wayne, and I'm going through and I'm lining them all out. And at the very end of this one, to keep it simple and fast, I just had a few additional layers where I had transparency set to 20% transparency, 40, 50, and like 80% transparency, and that just kind of acted as though I had different shading markers. So once I get Donnie's line work done, you're going to see real fast all of a sudden just like depth kind of snaps in as I'm coloring them in darkest to lightest material. And yeah, overall, I mean, pretty happy with it. I'm happy with the fact that, for once, I'm happy with the way all of them look. None of them have any sort of wonky features or something like that, except for the hands. But that's it. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a great audience. Come back next time. If you're bored, come take a look at us on Instagram at 16_bit_gambit over at Instagram. And, y'all have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.